If operator x denotes the least integer greater than or equal to x, is operator x equal to 0? Now, in order to not get confused with what it means, I'm going to try a value. Let's use 1.3. Okay, operator of 1.3 denotes the least integer greater than or equal to 1.3. And that would be 2, because there are many numbers that are greater than or equal to 1.3, but the least is going to be 2. So what this operator is doing is taking the integer that is directly above the number that is inside the operator. Okay, now the question is operator x equal to 0? For this to be true, what's inside the operator needs to be a little bit smaller, right? Like in this case, 1.3 is smaller than 2, which is the result. So x would need to be between -1 and 0. Well, it could be 0, so it's closed. But x would have to be between -1 and 0. This is the real question. Now, statement 1 says that operator of x over 2 is between -1 and 1. And since the operator represents an integer and it's between -1 and 1, the operator of x over 2 must be 0, because this integer is between -1 and 1 and the only integer is 0. And if this is true, like in this case, that must mean that whatever is inside must be between -1 and 0. Now I can multiply everything by 2, and I would get that x needs to be between -2 and 0. This is that fact, and the question is if x is between -1 and 0. It might not be true because x could be -1.5, for example. Okay, so statement 1 is not sufficient. Statement 2 alone says that x is closer to 0 than to -1. So I'm going to write -1, 0. If x is closer to 0 than -1, that means that from the middle of -1 and 0, x is to the right. Okay. But in the question, is x between -1 and 0? It might be in this case, and it might not be in this case. So it's not sufficient. Now, using both the statements together, I'm going to use the intersection. Statement 1 says that it's between -2 and 0. And statement 2 says that it's between the middle of -1 and 0 and to the right. So the only intersection is this space between -1/2 and 0. So if x is between -1/2 and 0, it definitely is between -1 and 0. So the answer is both together are sufficient, that is letter C.